So, a fresh new week has arrived, and here on this channel, that means one thing and one thing only. Every weekend, I post an episode of this series we do called Your Take, Not Mine, where I turn to you, the viewers, to give me your hottest NBA takes of the week, based on what's going on at the time, and I then choose my favorite submissions and discuss them in a video. This week, we watched more preseason action go down in anticipation of opening night, now being less than a week away, and we also got more rumors swirling about potential trades. So we definitely have plenty to discuss. In order to submit your takes, I make a community post on either the day of or the day before the video, similar to the one that you see on your screen now, so if you want a chance to be featured in a future episode, be sure to stay on the lookout for that. Before we start though, I want to thank Prize Picks for sponsoring today's video. Prize Picks is a skill-based, real money daily fantasy sports game where you select 2 to 6 players and guess if they will hit more or less than their projection. And if you get it right, you can win up to 25 times your original entry. Obviously, we're all basketball fans here, but Prize Picks has almost every sport you can think of available to choose and play from. To add to the fun, they also offer frequent bonuses, discounts, and weekly promotions, such as Taco Tuesday and Flex Friday, plus they have a special free square offer for the NBA's opening night, where if Steph Curry scores at least one single point, then you win, so don't miss out on that. I personally will be taking that free square, Nikola Jokic to grab over 11.5 rebounds, and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope to make over 1.5 threes for opening night. To sign up, go down to the link in the description of this video and use promo code REFERENCE when you sign up to get a deposit match bonus up to $100. Once again, thank you to Prize Picks for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get back to the topic at hand. The first take we'll be discussing today comes to us from Moon, and he says that Jordan Poole is going to emerge in a big way this season, averaging about 28 points per game and leading the Washington Wizards to the playoffs. This summer, the Warriors made a very interesting move that truly encapsulates the phrase high risk, high reward. Jordan Poole may not have been the perfect fit on the current makeup of the Warriors, but when the team decided to trade him for 38-year-old Chris Paul, they made it clear their only focus is on staying in contention for another few seasons without any real regard for what comes after that. Now that Jordan Poole is out of the shadow of guys like Steph Curry and Klay Thompson on a Wizards team starting a rebuild, many are expecting a massive Poole breakout year this season, and for good reason. He was a 20-point scorer on a team with quite a few other players ahead of him in the pecking order, so being set free and given the ultimate green light in Washington has some, including NBA legend Kevin Garnett, comparing him to James Harden when he first got traded to Houston from Oklahoma City. Harden was a great young sixth man who was traded to a team where he would be the top dog, and he went on to become one of the greatest offensive talents the league has ever seen. So I will say that if you're expecting Poole to reach those kind of heights, you might need to pump the brakes a little bit, but I do definitely see the vision on Poole putting up some big numbers this year. I can't, however, get on board with the idea of Poole leading this Wizards team to any significant playoff push because the roster is just too flawed at the moment. He himself isn't necessarily going to be the most efficient while putting up these humongous scoring outings, and there are just way too many teams in the Eastern Conference that are more well-rounded with enough talent to finish above them. The next take we'll be discussing today comes to us from Crow, and he says that none of the newly minted super teams featuring dynamic duos or trios from this offseason will actually come out on top and win the finals this year. So, to clarify, the teams that he is referring to in this take are the Milwaukee Bucks with Damian Lillard now with Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Boston Celtics with Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Jrue Holiday, and Kristaps Porzingis, the Phoenix Suns with Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and now Bradley Beal, and the Golden State Warriors with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and now Chris Paul. I'm not gonna lie, that's definitely a pretty hot take, because those 4 teams would probably be 4 of the most common answers you would hear if you were to ask the average NBA fan who they would pick to win it all this season. Now, if he believes that those 4 teams will not win it all, then let's take a look at the realistic options that are left. Obviously, the defending champion Denver Nuggets remain with a very good chance to go back-to-back by returning their entire starting lineup, but they did lose Bruce Brown to free agency, who was one of their only reliable bench options during their title run. The Miami Heat also remain, but after spending all summer expecting to land Damian Lillard and whiffing on that, they too lost 2 of their starters from their finals team to free agency and replaced them with Josh Richardson and a couple of young and inexperienced young draft picks. The Lakers are also a group that remains that I think could be a good pick, because they're bringing back most of the same group that made the conference finals last year, while also stealing away Gabe Vincent from the Heat. They seemed to breathe new life into their squad in the second half of last season, and that's the kind of momentum that they can definitely carry over into a big year this year. Even the Los Angeles Clippers could be a realistic option that remains, because they have a deep roster and the star talent at the top. They just need Kawhi Leonard and Paul George to be healthy at the same time for a playoff run for once. So, bringing it all back together, if you were to ask me which side of the fence I'm on in this debate, I'd probably pick one of the new and improved rosters to win it all, but I don't think it's that crazy by any means to prefer any of the teams that I just laid out in favor of them, because there are quite a few that could be more than capable. And finally, the last take we'll be discussing today comes to us from Lucky, and he says that Amen Thompson has the second most upside from this year's draft class, with legitimate star upside comparable to Penny Hardaway. At this point, everyone seems to accept that Victor Wembanyama's upside is in a tier of its own, but after that, there's a lot of healthy debate to be had. Amen Thompson was selected 4th overall behind Wembanyama, Brandon Miller, and Scoot Henderson, and then his twin brother Asar was selected 1 spot behind him at number 5. The preseason has given us our first look at these guys on an NBA court, and Amen Thompson has definitely looked good out there in the limited run that everyone has been getting, so I definitely understand the excitement. We have seen a lot of players recently get labeled as, quote, big point guards, who flame out because despite flashing some playmaking talent as a taller player, they aren't actually smart enough or good enough as a passer to run an offense, but Amen Thompson is legitimately a big point guard, standing at 6'7" with natural playmaking instincts. He's been doing a good job penetrating the paint and then kicking it out to the open man so far in the preseason. His unbelievable athletic gifts have been on full display, and his jumper has been promising to this point. This is so tough because, I'm not going to lie to you, I am also a huge believer in Scoot Henderson's star potential and still probably lean towards him in this debate in the long run. However, I wouldn't be surprised at all if Amen Thompson becomes a bona fide star in the making. This just makes me all the more confused as to why the Rockets went out and signed Fred VanVleet, because he's going to be ahead of Amen Thompson on the point guard depth chart all year because of the big contract that he just got paid. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below what you think about the takes we discussed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.